musicians. From your bustling metropolises to the smallest villages, creativity is at the heart of Indian culture and economy. The sheer scale and diversity of your creative community has fueled a digital content ecosystem that is truly a global phenomenon. The pivotal moment of AI as a co-creator. We are now at this global pivotal moment, and the rise of generative AI presents an unprecedented opportunity to amplify this creative energy. At Google, we are incredibly optimistic about this future, a future where every creator, regardless of their resources or technical skills, has access to tools that help them tell their stories more imaginatively than ever before. And it's really important to emphasize, AI is not here to replace creators. It's here to empower them. It's here to empower you. We see it as co-creator and a collaborator that helps bring ideas to life faster, more efficiently, and in ways that we could only imagine a few years ago. So what can you expect today? So today, throughout this session, you'll see vision in action. You'll see Google Arts and Culture, where we will showcase how AI is bringing technology with India's rich cultural heritage. You'll see some creator spotlights. The acclaimed filmmaker Shakun Batra will share just how tools like VO3 and Flow are redefining visual storytelling. And you'll hear that the future is now. We'll host a high-impact panel with industry founders to examine just how AI is practically transforming the creative landscape today. We're going to be talking about democratizing the creative canvas. Our mission is about democratization. We want to ensure that geography, language, or income is no longer a barrier to talent. Whether it's a student in a small town producing cinematic sequences or a traditional artisan connecting to global markets, AI is the ultimate equalizer. And by lowering the barrier to entry for creators, for SMBs and agencies nationwide, we are moving from the English creator economy to a truly inclusive Bharat creator economy. For years, this nation's creative spirit has been its most powerful export. I'm really happy that I'm wearing Indian fashion today, and there is nowhere better in the world to see things. Yeah, it's great. It really is your most powerful export. And now with generative AI, we are handing this incredible community a new set of tools. It's not to replace your vision, but it's to amplify it. The question is no longer if AI will impact creativity, but how big will that impact be? And we're already beginning to see the scale of that opportunity. New independent research that was published this week by Public First gives us a glimpse into this future. Their findings suggest that the economic potential of generative AI for India's core creative sector could be over 400 billion rupee by 2035. And think about what that number truly represents. It's not just an abstract figure. It's the sum of millions of individual stories of empowerment. It's the potential that comes with AI-based translation that helps a Hindi creator increase their global reach by 280%. It's the freedom that a creator feels when AI tools boost their productivity by 20%, saving them 390 hours a week. And that's the quantitative impact, but what does the qualitative impact mean? What does a creator do when they have that extra time? Now, that is even more profound. And we believe that generative AI, and you'll hear about this today, can be that powerful catalyst for human ingenuity. It's a collaborator that helps a musician in Mumbai break through a creative block. It's a translator that can take a folk story from a village in Tamil Nadu and share it with a global audience, breaking down language barriers that have existed for centuries. And perhaps more importantly, it's a tireless assistant that can handle tedious tasks, giving creators back their most precious and non-renewable resource, time. Time to think, time to dream, time to focus on your unique vision. And at Google, our goal is to be a responsible partner on this journey, whether that's through new features in YouTube or the creative potential of tools like VO, Nano Banana, and other Gemini applications that I'm really proud to work on. We are absolutely committed to building simple, safe, and powerful platforms that empower all of you to tell your stories in new ways. But this is a journey that we all need to take together, creators, platforms, and policymakers, to truly understand the national vision for this creative renaissance and the important role that government plays in nurturing it. It is now my absolute distinct honour to welcome our keynote speaker. Please join me in giving a very warm welcome to the Honourable Secretary from the Ministry of Culture. Thank you. Thank you, Shreya.
Want to speak here?
Or you can speak here, whichever is.
Thank you, Gail, for giving such a wonderful context to the discussion today. Ladies and gentlemen, it's indeed a proud moment for India and also a great opportunity for Ministry of Culture to be part of this AI Impact Summit. And today, when we talk of the opportunities in the sector of culture, standing before you, I had an experience a few days back. There was an interview which was done by a famous journalist, and he asked me, "Are you scared of AI?" So my quick answer was that I'm absolutely not scared. He said, "Why?" "We think that AI would be the end of creativity. It may impact the creative economy in a negative way. It may impact the intellectual property rights of the artists and creators around the country." So my answer was very clear. Whatever AI does, AI can enhance our efficiency. It can be a tool to improve our work, but it can never replace human ingenuity. The creativity that is the inherent ability of a human, the ability to think differently, the ability to create something that has never been created before, is something that a human can do. But to do this, if we have support from AI, support from any other tool, it increases the efficiency of human beings. So we take AI and AI's impact in a very positive manner, in a manner which will help us to give a great impetus to the overall creative economy of this country. I don't have to overemphasize this point that Bharat is actually a continent. It's a continuum in civilizational growth. We are so diverse that all of us sitting here with all our backgrounds and knowledge would still not be able to tell that how many languages and dialects this country has or this land has. How many communities, how many ways of dressing, how many ways of speaking, what kind of cuisines. So none of us can make a complete list of what we have in this country. So this diversity is a great opportunity for creativity. Each one of us, coming from our own communities, coming from our own regions, coming from our own villages, carry some memory of a folk art or a folk tradition or a festival or a fair which is unique to our own region. But bringing all that to the world, to a larger audience, can be enabled by technology. And of course, AI can be a great enabler for us to bring what we have to the world in a more creative environment. In Ministry of Culture, we are experimenting with lots and lots of things. You may have got a chance to see our corner at the Bharat Pavilion in hall number 14, where we have showcased the use of AI in preserving our manuscript heritage, and also to bring the knowledge out of these manuscripts and democratize that knowledge, and also break some of the beliefs that the scientific principles that we work on today, all of them came from other parts of the world and not from India. When you go through our manuscripts and when you see that energy and knowledge that has come out of those manuscripts, you will find that many of the inventors and discoverers who have got credit around the world should not have got the credit. The credit would have gone to our ancient thinkers and sages who had written those texts, which are really, really immensely and completely putting up the thoughts, the formulas, the diagrams, the calculations which were later used to give the formulas that we have today. So use of AI, we have demonstrated that you can actually do the OCR on these manuscripts, get that machine readable text to be translated in any language. You can ask questions from that manuscript, you can talk to that manuscript, you can compare the knowledge that is there in that manuscript with the modern knowledge that goes around in the world, and see where we stand and what kind of knowledge is actually there as a repository in our manuscripts. So this is one aspect in which Ministry of Culture is trying to make a breakthrough by using various tools of AI. Similarly, as I was mentioning, our folk arts, our folk traditions, our music, which is there. You have the examples of shadow puppetry, you have Nautanki, you have so many forms of art which still are not fully known from the perspective of a creative economy and the generation of resources, not only to sustain livelihoods, but also to have more creative expression in these art forms. So we are looking forward to alliances, we are looking forward to tools, including the tools that Gail was mentioning that Google has developed. So we are looking at alliances from all technology partners. We don't have to reinvent the wheel, but to get these creators mainstreamed and to bring their product to the market not only in India but also internationally. Same is the case for our visual artists, for artists who are doing work through crafts, through various forms of paintings, sculptures, wood carving, ceramics. There's so much that India has to offer, and so much can be done through the use of AI to enhance the capacities of our artists and our art forms to really go in a big way and use technology to enhance their capacities. Here we are open, we are looking at young people, we are looking at veteran artists, we are looking at technology providers, we are looking at large corporates and large players who are already big tech companies, including Google, but we are also looking at startups who can convert these new ideas into action. We are looking at all kinds of emerging technologies, including AI, and we are really very, very hopeful, and we are really, really positive on the good things that AI can do for us. As I said, there is no limit to experimentation that we are ready to do. We are building models of public-private partnerships. We are trying to open up our monuments, to have more virtual tours, to have more conversations which are connected to these monuments, so that if a citizen or an individual or a student is looking at a monument, he or she can actually ask lots of questions from that particular era, from that particular event, from that particular architectural impact of that monument, the thought processes under which those monuments were built. So lots and lots of interesting things can be done to make our cultural assets more attractive, to bring in more visitors, and to make a larger impact. Similar experimentation we are doing for our museums. You all know that the North Block and South Block, the erstwhile Secretariat of Government of India, the beautiful buildings around Rashtrapati Bhavan, they are now getting converted into Yuge Yugin Bharat Museum. This museum will again be a showcase of not only our ancient culture, our ancient civilization, our history, various beautiful objects which have come out of our history would be displayed, but we are also planning to deploy all types of technology, including AI, to make the experience of visitors more interesting, more informative, and we are even looking at collaboration right at the stage of planning the museum, right at the stage of curation of the museum. So not only we will be opening up the possibility for all of you to contribute to the planning part, but we will also seek ideas from you where we can use the technology to enhance the experience. Of course, whatever best we are able to gather from the market, we would be doing it. But it's an opportunity for all the young professionals to contribute to the field of culture and also contribute to the nation building through this effort. As was mentioned, there's a huge market potential. There are many countries where the growth of the creative economy it's outpacing the growth of the overall other sectors, overall economy. So this is one sector. It may be cinema, it may be arts, it may be crafts, it may be our village artisans, it may be our folk arts, it may be our traditional music, our classical music, our huge archives of music and folk which we have actually recorded in different medias, which can really open up a market for creative economy, which we hope would be a big contributor to the GDP and to the growth of this country. As I said, we are open to alliances, we are looking at partnerships, we are looking at structured partnerships with clear outcomes. So I would exhort all of you, if you have any ideas, if you think that you can be our partners, of course we are looking at partnerships with the big tech. It's a great opportunity to come together and make sure that the new technology, including AI, has a great positive impact on the growth story of creative economy and on the growth story of this great nation, Bharat. Thank you very much. Jai Hind. Vande Mataram.
Thank you, Honorable Secretary. It was a pleasure hearing from you, but also chatting this morning. Hello, everybody. My name is Amit Sood, and I have the privilege to run something at Google called Google Arts and Culture. And it's really nice to be back here in India because this is actually our 15-year anniversary of what started as a 20% project at Google 15 years ago. I'm going to take you through some of the work we've been doing in India, but also show you what we've just unveiled for the AI Summit. So let's go. It's going to be a lot of visuals, and hopefully I'll try and guide you through them. So just moving on to the next slide. You know, a lot of people ask me, why does Google have something called Google Arts and Culture? Well, Google Arts and Culture is a non-commercial initiative that we essentially started where the idea was to really create and break access barriers to art and culture for people who either cannot travel or do not feel it's for them. That was the initial aspect of democratization of this cultural information access. Since then, you know, we've been working with around 3,000 museums in 90 countries around the world and artists who then use and work with those cultural artifacts to create artistic programs. In India, I'm very happy to say that thanks to the support of the Government of India, over 120 partners are in India sharing around 60,000 artifacts. And these stories, it's very important for me to acknowledge that these are curatorial stories, where curators are actually teaching us about the interpretation of these artifacts. And so in a very crowded digital marketplace, where content is everywhere, how do you make sense of authentic, credible storytelling? And I believe getting scholars, curators, and conservationists into the conversation is critical. So I'm going to move to our next slide. which essentially is going to take you through a video. Everything you see in the video is actually available on the Google Arts and Culture app. So it's going to be 12 to 13 years journey. What you see behind me is one of our recent projects where we have digitized the Elephanta caves and created a really deep dive storytelling. Thanks to our partnership with the Archaeological Survey of India, over 100 to 200 sites have now been digitized, and we are hoping we can continue to support them. What's really important to understand is that these sites, once they get digitized, are not only on Google's platforms. They can also go on the website of the Government of India, they can go on Incredible India, and they can go on any site that the content owner chooses to put them on. And that, I think, is a critical aspect of democratization. You can see that once you have the sites, it's really important to get the storytellers, the curators, to come and explain these visuals. What are you seeing? Learning and education has been one of the most critical focus areas for the team, because it's not just important to look at them, but to learn about them. Now, moving on. A while ago, we got told that it's not just about heritage and art, it's also about intangible culture. So a few years ago with Incredible India, we launched a project called Crafted in India, which documented hundreds of artisans around the country talking about the process. Honorable Secretary mentioned shadow puppetry. I had no idea that the state I was born in Andhra Pradesh, has a deep culture of shadow puppetry. And that was a revelation for me. As you can see, these are not just videos and images. They actually have a very strong curatorial knowledge base that can be used for students, academics, or for example, my mother who loves saris, she's now using the platform, thankfully, because there's content that makes sense for her. And that's kind of the broad tent of Google Arts and Culture. Culture is different things for different people. For some people, it might be looking at a Raja Ravi Verma painting, but for some people, it might be celebrating the crafts of India. This is another project we did where it was really talking about how technology can communicate India's role in the world through history. It was called India and the World at the Chhatrapati Shivaji Museum in Bombay. Life in miniature with the Indian Museum, digitizing thousands of miniature paintings and then using machine learning to extract interesting facts from them. These are all live that you can go and explore, so they're not just, this is not AI generated. It's actually available for you in your app right now. One of my favorite projects was the Raja Ravi Verma project, where we got asked by the estate of Raja Ravi Verma to really create a digital retrospective exhibition, bringing every single painting of Raja Ravi Verma and the posters together. That's available. And many other artists who we are celebrating and doing retrospectives for. But I'm going to move to something completely different. A few years ago, we got told, why you're not celebrating Hindi film? So working with the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting, we got asked to create a project for the International Festival in Goa, which was essentially a pilot phase 1 in documenting and archive imagery of Indian film history. It was not so much about the music or the film itself, but it was about the artisans who make the films happen. It's about the sets, the theaters, and the process that you go into. Now you're seeing railways, and you must be wondering, where has he gone now? We then got contacted by the Indian Railway Ministry, who said, you have done a good job for craft, you're doing a good job for art, but do you know that Indian Railways is a cultural important experience in the Indian psyche? And they worked with us, the curators, to really bring out archives of Indian Railways, what it means for people in India, how it connects cities. And it's a wonderful storytelling project that we have unveiled. All of these, including what you're seeing here, are digitally curated stories that are available on the platform, taking incredible achievements with a project we did called India Ki Udan, which was one of my favorites, but also celebrating various accomplishments that are happening now, because we believe it's not just about the past, but also about the present to inform the future. And that's really the focus for Google Arts and Culture, is to kind of cover that spectrum. So, as I said, 120 partners is a very small number for a country like India. So I hope we will continue to be growing with your help, with telling us who we need to bring onto the platform and expanding the project. So we are here today These are, by the way, all the amazing partners that I'm grateful to. But we're here today at the AI Summit. So I'm going to move to 3 experiences that have just launched over the weekend. They are all accessible to anybody with a computer or a phone. These are some of the various projects that you can access and the names of the different projects. So I'm going to move on. So the first one, as the Honorable Secretary mentioned, we want people to look at these amazing historical sites and monuments with a desire to come visit them in person, but also learn a little bit more about them. And this is really a learning-focused experience, and I hope the audio is going to play. If it's not a problem, but essentially it's launched for around 150 sites in India, where you can use Google's Gemini models to talk to these sites, and you can ask questions and interact using Street View. So it's a combination of Google Street View technology with Gemini to create an interactive learning experience for Indian heritage. And if the audio plays, you'll be able to hear it. It's also available in both Hindi and English. So just, in case you're looking for that, that's also part of it. I assume the audio will not play, but it's really wonderful to hear the description of these sites and what's coming in. It will play when you access it on your phone, though. I can promise. Otherwise, you can contact my email address and let me know. So I'm going to move on from this experiment now to the next one. This is a really personal experiment because many years ago, as I was visiting India and meeting various people in the ministries and in other places, especially academics and scholars, they were asking me, how can you really bring Sanskrit to life in a slightly more, emotional way rather than just the academic part? So using our VO models, we have created an experiment called Sanskrit Letters, the Devangari Script Edition, where we have taken all the characters of the script, and you have 3 chapters where you can very quickly understand the importance of the sound vibrations, that Sanskrit is not just, it's not just a language, but it's also a technology, if some of you may be aware of that. And this project really gets you to understand. This is created with an artist in Paris. So these are, again, artistic interventions on using these models to create a more deeper engagement to things we all know, but we don't understand.
रुक जाती है और एक गुनगुनाहट में बदल जाती है। मनस, मन और मापना से जुड़ा ये स्वर एक युग के अंत का प्रतीक है। ये यात्रा के अंत में स्थित पर्वत है, जहां आत्मा मौन में विलीन होने से पहले अपने अनुभवों का आकलन करती है।
Now, obviously, if you're an academic scholar of Sanskrit, you might not find this very useful. But this is really for broadening the understanding of the language, not just for global audiences, but even a lot of my friends in India who probably do not know the actual meaning of what these akshars mean. So I'm going to move on now to the next experiment.
I'm Harshit Agrawal. I'm an artist based in India. This experiment invites people to immerse themselves and learn more about the 9 emotions, the Navrasas, as documented in Natya Shastra, which is one of the oldest books about Indian art. Building this project has been really exciting because it's given a chance to work with really exciting cutting-edge AI technologies like Imagen and MediaPipe. Using Google's AI technologies, the users create new AI portraits which immerse themselves in artworks that are generated about these 9 emotions. After you experience 3 of these emotions, you unlock an animated portrait of yourself. If people can experience this, that becomes a starting point for them to start engaging with the world around them through this lens of Navrasa theory. I think that would be quite exciting.
Harshit's project just went live on Monday. Harshit is an acclaimed digital artist from Bangalore. It's available right now, not on mobile, but on desktop. And I hope you get a sense of the variety here. Yes, we want you to share on your social media. Yes, you should engage there. But here you will find learning throughout in every experience. So please enjoy. Download the app, or if you don't want to download it, just go onto the Google Arts and Culture website and explore Indian culture and heritage. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, Amit. Okay, works now. Thank you. Arts and culture never fails to impress everyone. So while they're setting up the stage, I will love to introduce some creators, entrepreneurs, and publishers who are in the room to share with us how they are leveraging AI and inspire some of us as we use AI to make our own creative stuff. So to begin with, let's welcome Shobit from Josh Talks. He's the co-founder of Josh Talks, a vernacular platform that reaches 150 plus million viewers monthly. Thank you, Shobit. Next, I'd love to invite Dipesh. Dipesh is the VP of the iconic brand Amar Chitra Katha and Twinkle. Thank you, Dipesh. He's come in from Mumbai this morning, so extra thanks. The next one is Bhavya. Bhavya is an award-winning creative entrepreneur who's been doodling over the last decade, and I'm a personal fan. Her channel's Doodle Desk. Feel free to follow if you like, emotional motivation and stuff around mental wellness. Last but obviously not the least, we have Vipul, a serial entrepreneur, INSEAD alum, and founder of Mugafi. Mugafi is a platform that engages 10,000 plus writers currently, and I'm sure it's growing. So lovely to have you all. I'll also go and take my seat. Do we have a mic for everyone?
I have it here.
We do? Thank you. Does this work? Okay, perfect. I'll also quickly sit myself here. To begin with, we have a question as ice-breaking for all of you before we get into work and get some tips from all of you. So, Shobit, to begin with, what is one creative superpower that AI has given you?
So firstly, thank you for having me, Imani. As a superpower, so I'm a person who messages everyone through voice notes. And until now, I think including my team, they've been frustrated with me कि शोभित सुबह 2 बजे भी रात को. So I'm a voice-first person. And I think one of the things that is done for me is that now I'm able to use voice to do everything. I think this was just not possible 3 to 4 years ago. So I'm able to make visuals and text and everything that a person would usually use text for. I think that's, personally for me, that's the biggest use case to unleash my creative superpowers.
No wonder you founded Josh Talks, the hub for voice and all the language stuff. Dipesh, do you want to take the same question? Your creative superpower using AI?
Of course. Happy to be representing an organization which is almost 6 decades old. And as a kid who's been looking at all of the art and in motion, I always wondered that when will all of these things come to life? And 2 years ago, if you would have asked me that, okay, all of these comic panels would become a visual experience, an immersive experience, fully loaded with music and the right kind of sound design at a click of a button, I would have laughed it off. So that for me is an actual superpower, considering the thousands and thousands and lakhs of panels that we have got and that we are trying to convert into different kinds of formats altogether.
Okay, interesting. We'd love to know more about how your
100%.
brand is using it. Bhavya, I'll twist the question a bit for you now. Tell us something in this world of AI. There's so much that AI can do for us, but is there anything that you'll not let AI touch and you like to, keep charge on it?
So I feel that the part of me that actually feels is something that I would not like to share with AI, because as we all know that AI can create scripts and make videos and create beautiful visuals for us, but can it feel what it feels like to have a heartbreak, or feel the pain when you have a loved one pass away, or can it feel, how does it feel when you're sitting and sipping chai in the rain, right? So I feel the whole drama of being human and being emotional, I think as humans and as creators, we have a premium subscription to it, and I don't think I would like to share that password with AI.
Glad you said it. Emotions is our superpower.
Yes.
Okay, Vipul, same question.
Pretty much same answer also. We work with a lot of writers, and though script writing being done by AI, but the stories is still more human, and the originality of it, the intent of it, the emotions of it is what we would like to stay with humans, and that's going to make more and more new stories come up in different forms. So yeah, that's one thing which I'm hoping to stay away from AI as long as possible.
Okay. Aligned. I will now move to some in-depth questions. We love for you all to pick some insight, to share some insights, and we'll all like to pick your brains as we look to create materials on our own. And there are lots of creators in the room. So Shobit, to begin with, instead of asking how to create, I would love to know more about the creator economy from you. You reach, millions of viewers and creators across India. And, what do you think AI has done for these creators who are sitting in remote cities? Has AI actually leveled the playing field for, say, a non-English creator? Or it's the other way around, people who understand the language and can prompt very well and have access to more resources are doing better?
India has about 100 languages with over 100,000 speakers. And I'll share from a Josh Talks perspective. How many of us have heard of Josh Talks or have seen a Josh Talks? Wow, fantastic. That's a lot of people. Now, think of the entire country and anybody who speaks, like Josh Talks is only in about 11 languages. So almost 90 languages, the people who speak them don't have access to Josh Talks and to lots of other creators who speak our languages. So one of the main things that AI has unlocked is that we're actually able to take a Josh Talks that's recorded in Hindi and release it to someone who only understands Bhojpuri, including the lip syncing. And this just did not exist 2 to 3 years ago. So I think one of the biggest things AI has done is that it's going to, a creator who's creating English content can now have their content dubbed in a regional language that was just not possible before. But I'll also say this, that I think even today, language technologies are really improving, but today if we all take out our phones and we actually say a simple sentence like, Aaj ka mausam kaisa hai, to most AIs, they'll still predict it in Urdu, when actually, probably all of us are actually speaking to it in Hindi. So I think there is still a long way to go where the foundational model labs are already doing a remarkable job, but there's still some distance to go where actually a language like a Maithili starts to be truly accurately understood by these models. And we recently released the Voice of India benchmark. It's a way to measure how good is AI today at recognizing Indian languages. And it was remarkable to see Sarvam obviously has done incredibly well. Even Google has done so well. So it's so great to see that even our work together has led to these language accuracy increase so much for Indian languages. But I think I'm very excited to see what happens over the next 1 to 2 years, where across Indian languages, including a Maithili and maybe even going beyond our scheduled languages, AI starts to understand them.
I wouldn't have guessed 100 plus accents. So thank you for sharing and for all the work you do. Obviously, a lot of people are already familiar of Josh Talk, so great that we have you here. I'll switch gears now and talk about a brand that's been around since almost forever. I can say it's been around since all of us were born. And it still stays iconic and relevant in today's time, right? So Dipesh, from you, I will love to understand, how are you leveraging AI in a brand-safe manner, in a way that it's not diluting your brand identity and you're still able to retain your core of storytelling, but still, benefit from the AI tools that we have today?
Thanks for asking that question, Himani. Actually, I was any which ways jumping on the opportunity to discuss or probably present in front of these guys something that we have experienced, not just with Google, but in general. So one of the many common things that all of you all have been doing is just making sure that the redundant, monotonous things could be done again and again with AI, so that you can save time is something that we all do at our organization. But for us, storytelling always stays at the core. It's always going to be human-led. We, as an organization, it's very clear that whatever stories we create will be editorially led and not AI-driven directly. But at the same time, in order to amplify it, we will use AI to the most extent possible, so that we can reach out to as many number of people as possible. So like Shobit was mentioning, how AI was able to unlock multiple languages and reach for so many people. It's the same case for us. We have been storytellers since a long, long period of time. I mean, last year with Google, we did a partnership wherein we were able to bring our motion comics into an immersive experience fully loaded with SFX by using a technology called as Page Pop, and which was showcased in Google I/O Connect India 2025. And it was a proud moment for us because I'm sure that a lot of you all, except for the Gen Alphas and the Gen Zs over here, would have grown up reading Amar Chitakatha and Tinkle, and for that matter, other creators as well. But it's important for us who have been cultural custodians of so much of Indian stories to be able to get those stories across all of you all in the formats that you love. Now, for us as an organization, it's important that how are we able to extrapolate and multiply the amount of content that we are creating in various ways and forms. It's important for us to understand the data that we have over the past 6 decades. And while we are understanding that data, it's important for us to eliminate what's not relevant for today's generation and also keep on executing what works for them. So our content library has increased 10x. Our social media following has increased by 4 times since the time we have started analyzing the right kind of content for our social media and the way in which it's been consumed. For the creators, it's an opportunity to quickly ideate, reiterate, and experiment by making sure that the content that they were just thinking about has the right kind of co-pilot attached to it. And at the same time, it increases our production cycle also because our go-to-market strategy becomes very, very stronger. And the biggest thing is the number of languages that we are able to convert our content into, which especially with the kind of tools that we have with Google, has helped us retain the kind of accuracy that we would have wanted, and the thing that would have come out months later is now a matter of a few days. So that's something that we have been using AI in terms of being brand safe. It is never going to touch the IP's integrity, but it will always, we are trying to bring it to a position where it does not make us look rigid in terms of acceptance, but it helps us propel with the way in which the industry and the way in which the content is being consumed right now.
Thank you. From languages to, emphasizing on the sheer scale and speed that AI brings to operations and analysis as well. Great to know from a big brand, of course, how you're leveraging it, but shifting gears to a creator I know who started her journey solo and has a team now. She's representing the Doodle Desk. Bhavya, I would love to know from you, how are you leveraging AI in your workflows? And, is there anything that you thought was a big barrier for you, say, half a decade ago that has totally vanished because of AI?
So I think a couple of years ago when I was writing my first book, sometimes, the ideas would come at like 2 a.m. in the night. And sometimes, when we have to make like a topical reel, the idea would like just come in the middle of the night, right? So there are 2 ways to go about it earlier. Either you wake up the whole team and get the work done, or you scribble the ideas in your diary, sleep over it, and by the time you wake up, you've lost the momentum and the vibe of the entire creative process, right? But now, when I get an idea, I just like to bully AI a little middle of the night and, throw in my ideas, get a rough storyboarding, get a video draft, So I have like sort of a whole process ready for my entire team the next day. So I think the barrier that has vanished here is not really the skill set of me as a creator or my team members. It is the waiting time that has reduced and also the loss of momentum that we feel as creators.
Thank you for sharing, Bhavya. I like how you said you can bully AI, and I think we can do it without feeling guilty too. So thank you for sharing your experience. Over to you, Vipul. You are engaging thousands of creators and writers specifically, right? How are you, instead of asking how you're using AI, I would love to know how AI is changing possibly, storytelling or writing. Is AI still only acting as a co-pilot for your creators group, or is it actually changing the stories or the narratives?
Yeah, one that the kind of stories that we work with are largely gonna go in films, OTTs, on the web series or a TV shows. That's what we focus on. And what's been changing is that like to do any content like that, you have to learn how a script writing functions, right? Even if you have a great idea and you do not know how to write a script, it's fairly hard to, go ahead and pitch it to someone. And that's what we focus on. So we realize that how the story's been developed in the past 100 years. And you as a writer who had an idea, go in a writer's room, talk to a lot of writers who will help you draft your story into a certain format and ask a lot of questions. And that's where we come out with not a co-pilot, we call it a coach approach model. Where in 6 steps, AI asks a lot of questions from you, so idea remains unique to you. And at the end of the step, it drafts all of your brainstorming and all the answers that you had gave into a certain format. And that format could be anything, a book, a script. And just because we are doing this method where we are asking human a different thing and instead of AI writing things, we always keep checking for the plagiarism because that's most important when you're talking about the IPs. So today, any IP that's been generated on the platform, there is a plagiarism report that comes along with it. If you have any similarity of dialogue or a story or a screenplay, where does it come from? So that's something which to protect the IPs, protect the past ideas, and ensure that when you go out and produce something, you don't fall in the legal trouble. So that's a bit different from a co-pilot model, goes into a coach approach model, and through that we have done many movies. Even right now, if you guys are in Mumbai, there's a movie in theaters, which is a Marathi movie, which is written, edited all on Mogafi and been produced by real people on real cinemas. So that's what we largely focus on. So what's going to change for us that today, out of 1 million writers, for example, 100, for example, just one knows how to convert into screenplay. But with AI coming in, it takes a lot of operational job away and can add all those 100 ideas into a screenplay or a book, which can become an IP. And I'm a big believer of it, all this, what AI is changing in the next 10 years. IP is the most important asset class. So what you own is who you are. And I think that's where this model is going to come and play.
I just wanted to add to that. I think, Vipul, that's so interesting. And, I think even at Josh Talks, we're all about stories. And I think, like you mentioned, I think there are some things we can still do in India that can really help preserve the culture conversation. Like, I'll give you an example. We've been wanting to collect an oral history data set. Like, think of the people who are around 90. They have really seen India pre-partition. And we all have probably studied partition, but we don't really know what was cooked for lunch that day and what were the ingredients used to cook that food in that time, or the everyday day-to-day life. Like, how did you go to the village or to your school? What does it mean by you walked barefoot to school? Like, help me visualize things like that. So I think there's so much we can do to still preserve and create, I would say, probably data sets to that would really help preserve the culture of India. And even things like, I'll give another example. There are 6 lakh villages in India, something crazy like 600,000. Every single village has something unique. So I often travel to our viewers of Josh Talks, live in their homes in the villages of India. So I recently had gone to Bihar, and there's a village, Jayanagar, just about a few kilometers from the Nepal border. And I had lunch with our viewer's mother, and she cooked me something, and she said, this is only made in this village. And I don't remember the name of that dish, but I think we could actually probably preserve our culture by creating those data sets where we actually go into those villages, and across the 6 lakh villages we shoot the temples and the food and the way you and the roads, and what does the garden look like, what are the flowers. I think there's so much to our culture. And I'm so excited about the work Google is doing and the entire ecosystem is doing to help preserve and take to AI all of that
Long road
culture.
ahead. So much to do, and so much is already done thanks to brands and establishments like yourself. All of these people are very established in their fields, and we have the privilege as Google to collaborate with you and go deeper into language enhancement, talking of Marathi movies getting released or Maithili language being covered throughout. So we have limited time today. I would have loved to ask more questions and cover a lot more from the audience too, but unfortunately we don't have that time. So I request you to follow all of these people, catch them around while they are here, and pick their brains. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hi everyone. So we have saved the best for the last. I'll call Shakun Batra, who's an acclaimed filmmaker and founder of Joska.ai. A round of applause for Shakun.
Okay, hello everybody. Those who are wondering who I am, I'm a filmmaker. I make traditional mainstream movies. If you've seen Gehraiyaan or Kapoor and Sons, those are the films I've made. And I have a confession to make, which is that I don't know what my job title is anymore. Because for the last 15 years, I introduced myself as a film director, which meant I go on a set, I have camera, I have lights, and I have budget to handle, and actors and their egos. And now, in the last few months, the definition of those words have changed. And despite my experience, when I now go to AI conferences, they call me a traditional filmmaker, which is just another polite way of saying I'm going to be a dinosaur, which scared me a lot. So I started my company called Joska.ai, where we are building movies with a fraction of the resources using AI. But what is surprising to me isn't how affordable or easy it's become to make things look good. It's how easy it's become to make them look empty. Just 2 years ago, budget was a moat. If you had $1 million, in some ways you won by default. Today, a kid in Mumbai with VO3 and Midjourney can give you a run for your money. So the question for the room is simple. In a world of infinite leverage and zero marginal cost, how do you stand out? Well, one of my favorites, Naval Ravikant, said you escape competition through authenticity. You do not beat Hollywood by fighting them on a spectacle. You can't out-explode them. That is a losing war. But if we are not competing with Hollywood on scale, and if we are not spending money on these big spectacle films, what are we really spending? We are spending intention. We beat them by doubling down on the one asset that cannot be commoditized, our intention. But when I started thinking about it, I asked myself an important question, which is, does intention make good art? No, intention is just the desire, it's not the discipline. But let's lean in further, because I want to bust a myth that I grew up believing, and I'm sure every creator in this room feels that way too. That the struggle to create something meaningful is what makes art great. We often think that art is equal to struggle that goes into making it. Well, that the obstacle is what gives work its soul. I used to think if I didn't bleed for it, it has no value. Well, now the machine is going to remove the obstacles, and I started to feel terrified that by removing the friction, we have removed the meaning. Oh, got it. So now, as I said, now that the machine removes the obstacles, I started to feel terrified, thinking that removing the friction is also going to remove the meaning. But here's the truth. The struggle hasn't left, it's migrated. The struggle used to be logistical. It was a fight against shoot timing, shoot dates, budgets. Well, we are winning that war. But the new struggle is psychological. The fight is no longer against the budget. The fight is against the generic output. Resisting the generic output, that is the new discipline. And in this new world, taste is a currency. Storytelling is a currency. Knowing the tools is a currency. Because AI is an engine of addition, but taste is an engine of subtraction. Yes, you need to know the tools inside out, but you need to know yourself better. You don't want to be a bricklayer in an era of infinite bricks. You want to be the architect. And talking about the architects, I want to talk about one of my favorite architects behind Pixar, Ed Catmull. Ed Catmull spent his life bridging art and technology, and he realized something profound. He said technology changes every 18 months, but storytelling biology hasn't changed in 10,000 years. But now, here's where I think the conversation needs to evolve. AI isn't something we are adding to the filmmaking process. I think it's something that's rewiring the process itself. The workflow's changing. Traditionally, filmmaking, if you look over here, traditionally filmmaking followed a rigid sequence. You imagined, you pitched, you raised money, you built, you released. The process was logistical. The creativity happened within this structure, inside that structure. But now the structure itself is changing, and it's becoming creative. Today we are entering an era of what I want to call recursive storytelling. The visuals are no longer the output, they are the input. We can imagine, prototype visually, iterate, kill ideas early, find emotional truth, and then decide whether something deserves scale. In this new model, failure is no longer expensive. And the experimentation becomes part of authorship. And if you try to force these new tools into the old way of working, they don't hold up as well. And that's uncomfortable, especially for those like me who come from traditional cinema, because we have followed the same pipeline for decades. And here's how recursive storytelling works. Let's say I want to write a sci-fi version of The Jungle Book. I don't just write. I open the tool, I type Mowgli in a futuristic, bioluminescent forest. The machine creates an image where the tiger has a cybernetic eye, and suddenly my brain reacts. I go back, the script, and rewrite the scene. The visual changed the story, and the story changed the visual. It's a conversation. This collapses the timeline. You don't have to wait for a budget to see your vision. You know, you iterate instantly. Last year, I met the founder, another Indian American founder called Amit Tandon from Luma Labs, who told me, post is the new pre. Well, your first edit is still a script. Let's think about that for a moment, because that changes everything. We started by talking about the budget. For a century, the budget was a gravity. It held us down, but it also oriented us. It told us what was possible. Well, now the gravity is gone, and we are all floating, and that is terrifying. When you can build anything, the hardest question changes from how do I build this to what is worth building. Well, that is the responsibility of the architect. The world has changed, our process changed, and our skills must change. Well, so I have a challenge for you. Do not look at these tools as shortcuts. Don't look at them to do lazy filmmaking. Look at them as superpowers. Respect the tech, absorb the tech, but remember, tools are force multipliers, they are not the source. Don't aim for scale alone, aim for truth, your truth. Because the one thing that stays the same is the biology of human connection, and that is the only currency you have. So let's spend that wisely. Because you do not outspend Hollywood, you outfeel them. Well, thank you, everyone. There is something, we had made using Google VO last year, which I wanted to show you so you can get an understanding of what would have taken us 3 months, 4 months to have done. Took us 5 weeks.
Subject is mobile. Expect unpredictable maneuvers.
Suspect turning east on Rue du Coin.
Suspect turning eastbound on De La Commune. Suspect in sight. All units converge. Moving to engage.
Okay, let's go.
Come on. Jauska made this in AI. Directed by Shakun Batra, eh?
Well, thank you so much. Well, if you have any questions on filmmaking, AI, I'm more than happy to answer them. So feel free, please. Okay, I'll be around, so if you have any questions, feel free, I'll be around. Thank you.
Thank you all for staying with us until the very end of this inspiring day at Bharat Mandapam. The energy in this room proves that India is not just observing the AI revolution, we are leading it. Today was about the creative canvas, the idea that AI puts the power of world-class storytelling directly into the hands of every Indian creator, entrepreneur, and business. Today we saw Creative Canvas in action. Google Arts and Culture Showcase showed us that AI is the ultimate bridge, preserving India's rich history while making it accessible to the world. Shakun just demonstrated tools like VO3 aren't replacing the filmmaker. They are liberating the artist by handling the heavy lifting of the workflow. Our panel discussion nailed the most vital truth. AI lowers the barrier to entry, but your unique human voice is what makes the story resonate. To the creators, experiment without fear. Use these tools to tell the stories that were impossible yesterday. To the industry and policymakers, let's continue this collaboration to ensure India's AI ecosystem remains vibrant, diverse, and responsible. As we head out, let's carry the guiding principle of this summit with us. Sarvajan Hitai, Sarvajan Sukhai. Welfare for all, happiness of all. Thank you for your time, your passion, and your creativity. Now let's go paint the future of India's creative canvas together. Thank you so much.